Northland College, the financially challenged school in Ashland, has decided to stay open, but in a, quote, refocused model moving forward. This comes after they announced in March they'd have to close down if they couldn't raise $12 million by early April. That deadline came and went without reaching that goal. After several meetings and proposals to help keep the college open, the Board of Trustees ultimately settled on a plan to keep the institution running. Now, the new refocus model includes significant changes to the operational budget and adjustments to staff and faculty, helping the college with about $7 million in savings. The restructured model also means the college will now only offer 8 majors. They are natural resources, business, education, biology, psychology and social sciences, earth studies, environmental humanities, and sustainable community development. The board says the current academic year will conclude as planned. Students who want to transition out of Northland will be supported, and prospective students will be notified of the changes, and any deposits made will be refunded. The Board of Trustees also thanked the community for the support during this process.